How you going, guys? Curtis from Cutting Edge Engineering. Today's job, we're going to be making some workshop storage. We do have three things we need to make. I need to make a rack so I can hold all of my chucks and my steady rest for my lathes over in the machining area. The second thing we're going to be making is a vertical storage system, and that is for all of the random crap I have around the workshop. No, it actually is for all the random stuff. It's also going to be used for some of our large diameter impact sockets, F-clamps, vice grips and stuff like that. And that's really just to get them a little bit more sorted in one spot. And the third thing we're going to be making is a hanging shelf to go on the side of the press to hold all of our press tooling. To get started, we're going to build a rack for the chucks and the steadies. And to make that, we're going to be using a piece of 100 by 100 by 5 SHS and a piece of 75 by 100 angle. These are offcuts from the spreader bar we built. So we're going to get the SHS set up in the saw and cut it to length. And for those wondering about the blue paint on all of our SHS, it is actually manufactured like that from the factory. It is a temporary rust preventative coating. You can weld through it, but if you leave it outside long enough, it will rust anyway. And we're going to cut two pieces to a length of 1.5 meters. We're also going to cut two pieces of the angle to 600 mil. And we're just going to cut a taper on the end of the angle, and that is just to make it look good. got all of our pieces cut, we're just going to clean up the corners. So that's all of the pieces prepped, now we can tack it together. Because the concrete floor is so uneven, I don't want the entire rack to be sitting on the floor because it will more than likely rock. So what I'm going to use is 5mm washers to pack up the SHS, and that means the angle iron will be the only thing touching the floor, which will prevent it from rocking. Because we've made this gap 300mm, that is to support our larger diameter chucks, faceplate and steady rest. It is actually too wide for the steadies and the chucks off our frontline lathe. What I'm going to do is weld in some 40x40 SHS down one end to make that gap smaller. And I'm going to tack in this last piece of 40x40 as an upright on the end, and that will be used to support the faceplate so it doesn't fall out of the rack. Now that's tacked together, we're going to weld it. Now that's welded, I'm just going to grind down all the welds and clean it up with a wire wheel. Righto guys, that's this rack fabricated. We still need to paint it, but we're going to get this out of the way and start on the second thing, which is our vertical storage system. We've got some 50 by 50 SHS and we're going to cut into 4 pieces for the legs. So that's the 4 legs cut. The other material we're going to be using are these pre-folded trays. They are made of 1.6mm zinc coated sheet. We did get about 20 of these in about 3 years ago to make up our own drawer system, but unfortunately that project just didn't go to plan. So we've been utilising them around the workshop to store nuts and bolts and also use as oil trays. And today we're going to try and use up another 6 of them with our vertical storage system. And to make this look good, we are going to notch out the corners of the trays to fit nicely with the SHS. Now we've got all those marked out, the fun part begins, and we're going to cut them all out with a grinder. Now that all those are done, we can start putting this together.
Who's in there? Go find him. Go.
Now we've got those tacked in place, before we go and weld them out, we're just going to make sure everything is square and we can make any adjustments if we need to. So that is about 6mm out of square, and if we don't correct that, it's not going to sit level. So I'm going to use a ratchet strap and square it up. Now that we've got the frame square, I'm going to go through and finish tacking in the shelves. Now we're ready to weld it out. Even though we are welding through zinc plated material, it does weld quite nicely. I will be using ER70S6 in a 0.9. I'm going to run that at 18 volts, 4.5 meters of wire a minute, and back that up with Argo Shield Universal. The next thing we need to do is get it off the bench so we can weld on the top shelf. And the last thing we need to do before this gets painted is clean up all the welds. Now that's done, we're going to get on to the third thing, which is making the hanging shelves for the side of the press. And we're not making this out of random offcuts, we did order in some material. What we have is 3mm 250 grade plate that has been laser cut and pressed into shape. And the way Troy designed this, it is a key lock system, so if he's drawn it correctly, it should all just go together.
Well, that was easy. Good job, Troy.
Now we've got all the fabrication done, we can take everything outside and get it painted. So you might notice we have repurposed the old handrails off our Franna crane as a paint stand, which is going to make it a lot easier to paint both sides of those shelves.
That looks better. Yeah. That'll do. Looks good from a distance.
Righto guys, so that's all the painting completed, and they definitely look a million times better with a coat of paint, except for that one. There's a lot of runs in that, probably the most I've ever had in a paint job. We are trying out a new brand of Homebush Blue, and it does spray a little bit differently, but that's something I'm just gonna have to get used to. So that's our new workshop storage completed, and we're gonna have to wait for those to dry. So you're gonna have to wait to see them being set up in the workshop. Hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.
There's like a drip hanging off. There, just leave it.
Because the concrete floor is uneven, I don't want this to sit flat on the floor because... Oh, hang on, I'm fucking it up because I'm not doing it in my words.
Do it in your words.
Righto.
Good words.
Do your words. Righto guys, that's our rack welded. Now we're gonna get... Oh, fuck me. So we're gonna get this out of the way and start on the second thing with... So we're going to get this out of the way and start on the second thing with this... Oh, fuck me. So we're going to get this out of the way and start on the second thing with... Oh my God. So we're going to get this out of the way and start on our second thing, which is our vertical storage system. Am I starting again?
No, just it's a temporary.
Right. It is... Oh, fuck me.
It's a temporary rust preventative coating.
Right.
It's
Thank you. Right. It's a temporary rust preventive coat... preventative...
You can do it.
Righto. Sound it out. Hello. Good, how are you? Yo.
Oh, that was so unsatisfying. Hey, 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 hey.
Strap and a clamp in the way. So that's our new workstop store. So that's our new workstop.
See ya.